Hey guys, Sekapoko here, bringing another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. For this, we'll be going over worth it or not worth it and talking about limit breaks. Now, I'm going to be going over some of the units that I believe are worth it for limit breaking, and some of the units I believe are not really super worth it, all the limit break crystals that you can put into them. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the like button down below as well as the subscribe button down below. And if you want to, go to my channel and hit the bell notification to get all the Sekapoko content and get release notifications every time they drop. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video. Now with the new limit break mechanic in the game, you can see I've already Pentamaxed this Mihawk. We have a showcase video of what as well. This Mihawk is super good. He is going to get lots of extra stats, lots of extra everything. He's going to be a really awesome unit in general. And you can see when you limit break him, you have to do tons of different things. You get captain ability increases, stat increases, all of that. So the purpose of this video is to go over like what limit breaking is, how limit breaking works, and exactly who you should be focusing on for your limit breaks. Now, to start this, we're going to start off with how limit breaking works. The first thing is each of these bubbles that you get correspond to a limit break ability. The way you can get each of these bubbles is by certain limit break crystals, plus using these potions to max out level your character. Now, if you're doing any kind of ranking event, you'll be able to actually max limit break your characters with different just by playing it, and you get the limit break XP during adventure mode. However, you're never going to get enough, so it's definitely worth feeding the potions to get that. Now, each limit break ability is a little bit different, so we're going to go over each one and talk about what they do. The strength bubble, the red bubble here, is going to give you increased attack by a variable amount. You can see it gives 10 attack here. The yellow one is going to give HP. The green one is going to be recovery, and that's for stats. The dude with the skull right here, with the little pirate circle coin thing, is one of the best ones. It's going to increase the amount of sockets you have in this character. The one over here, these are going to be different abilities that you get. These are going to be a little bit different every single time. I think there's only 4 or 5 abilities in the entire game. This one right here is a really cool one to look out for. This is going to increase the captain ability of the character, which is going to change the captain ability to a better ability. It always changes to a better a version of whatever it is, so it just increases the multiplier. So if it was like this one right here, you can see increases the multiplier of the attack to 1.4 and the attack HP to 1.1. And each one subsequent after that is going to increase it even further. So now the next thing on here for limit breaks is sailor abilities. Now sailor abilities are different for every single unit, and the thing with the limit breaks system that is introducing is that you can have multiple different sailor abilities, you can see here, on one unit, which is really cool. Having multiple different sailor abilities is really kind of an interesting thing to play with, because now it's going to create passives that you can just have all the time, which is really cool. Now the last, I think this is the last one. Yeah, the last limit break ability you can see here is charge. That looks like a charge special icon. It's going to reduce the cooldown of the character by a set amount. Now this can be a 1, 2, or 3 turn cooldown reduction that we've seen so far for different characters. Most of the time is being a 1, sometimes being a 2 or 3, depending on when the unit was released and how OP the characters want to be made. For the special abilities here, each one is a little bit different. For this adventure mode Mihawk, you can see if we click on the character, you're going to have two. These are going to be leveled up separately. So the only way to get these limit break levels here after you get them initially is by either feeding duplicates of the character themselves or by feeding limit break tablets to the character. So those are the only ways that you can actually increase the limit break level for here and get your full rainbow border. The only way to get the full rainbow border on a character is by getting all of the limit break tablets onto that character, or all the dupes onto the character in order to fully limit break him. So the easiest characters to fully limit break are going to be farmable characters. So that is actually going to beg the question, well, who's the best characters to limit break? So who should we be focusing on? I'm not really sure, because there's tons of different characters that you can limit break in the game. Now, they've introduced a lot of limit breaks for a lot more characters now. And now that it's going to start becoming more and more confusing on which characters are worth it and not worth it to limit break, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a video. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly what characters I think are worth it and not worth it to limit break. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy what I believe about each limit break. And we're going to do a series right now talking about limit break worth it or not worth it, and then we're going to do it on the releases of the characters to talk about each character's limit break and see if they're worth it to limit break or not worth it to limit break. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoy the series. The characters, and we're going to start in reverse order. We're going to start off with the newest characters that have been released into the game and go over if they are worth it to limit break or not. The first unit on the list is going to be Colosseum Sicillian. Now, Colosseum Sicillian is actually a really good unit overall. I'm not going to go over each character and what they do. I am going to go over their limit break and what I think about each character's limit break. So, seeing how he maxes at 10 turns, he's going to be one of the best units in the game that Colosseum characters have been released. There's nothing in his limit break that boosts his character so much as a sub that you would really want to use him, or as a captain so much that you really want to fully limit break him. The only thing he does get is a critical strike, and his critical strike is only a 20% chance to do a 10% additional damage, which is the lower version of the critical strike as far as all that goes. But he does reduce the damage of psi enemies by 5%, which is kind of interesting, and I do like that. However, I would say overall, this character is not worth limit breaking. I get asked about this character a lot. Should I limit break Colosseum Sicillian? Is it worth it? And I would have to say no. This character is not worth limit breaking. Next character we're going to do is going to be Vince Smoke Sanji. It's going to be the Raid Sanji. Now, Raid Sanji, as limit break goes, he gets lots of stats, lots of character abilities, and of course he gets the extra socket here, which is really nice. One of the things that didn't make Colosseum Sicillian worth it is because he doesn't get an extra socket, doesn't have to build toward a socket or something like that, whereas Raid Sanji does get an additional socket, which is really nice. Plus, he has an amazing sailor ability. Raid Sanji gets the sailor ability that makes recovery orbs beneficial. It says for all characters, but I believe it's only for powerhouse characters. Alright, so confirmed, it does do it for all characters, which is really, really nice. You can put this character on any team and get recovery orbs matching on any team you want without any kind of condition. Now, there's only two other characters that I know of that do this in the game. One of them is the 20th Robin that does like TND orbs, I believe, into matching, and then the Legend Sanji does recovery for matching, which is really cool as well. So it's a nice way to get like extra orbs in if you want to get like a Fuji effect, if you bring like a fighter team or a powerhouse team or something like that, you can do that. Definitely an interesting character to bring, definitely worth doing. Next, Adventure Mode Mihawk. Obviously, this character is worth limit breaking. Everybody did it. Without limit breaking, he's garbage. With limit break, he's amazing. End of story. Don't really need to go into him too much further because there's a whole Admiral event on him. Next up, we have Bartolomeo. Now, Bartolomeo is a really interesting unit. He does have a good limit break, and he does go up to 5 sockets from 4 sockets. So overall, because of his stat increase for his sailor ability, he gets 50 stats to strike guys quick. Definitely an interesting character. I'd say worth it, but in back burner. You're probably going to do other units first and then do Barto last. Definitely worth it, though. Next character on the Rocket Duck for limit break, worth or not worth it, is Cavendish. 100% worth. There's no question. His limit break listed before sockets to 5 sockets. He's going to do the same sailor ability as Barto, but his special ability is so good and his attack values are so high that it's definitely worth doing. I did mine earlier, and he maxes out at 1586 attack, almost 1600 attack on a non-legend unit, which is super high, meaning he's going to go up to 1786 attack if I fully candy him. Super, super high attack on any unit. That's stupid high. I'm actually very much considering using candies on him. His limit break abilities, not super great. What I would say is if you're really considering doing this and you want to get a limit broken, you don't have to get the abilities, but might as well. Reducing slot bind is also very nice, and reducing no healing is okay, but it's only 3 turns, no big deal there. So getting the slot bind reduction is actually kind of useful for a lot of different content. So definitely worth doing. Next we have Jesus Burgess. Jesus Burgess initially has a sailor ability for the stats of strength increased by 75 here. Sailor ability is going to reduce silence on the character for 3 turns. His attack is pretty low, and Jesus Burgess is probably the most underutilized of the batch because of how his ability works, and he's delayed boost. I'd say overall this is not worth. I really don't see any time you're going to be using this Jesus Burgess and really need this guy. The only thing I do like about this character is that his crits are really good. Like, he has a 40% chance to do 7% damage. So, I mean, I don't think it's worth it, but I can definitely see why somebody would think it would be worth it. So, for me, it's a no, but I won't think poorly of you if you do it. Diamante. Now, Diamante is very similar. He's also going to reduce silence on this character by 3 turns, which is really interesting to me as well. Overall, I think this is not worth it because I don't know of a situation where you're going to need the sailor ability. The socket is nice, and the attack increase is really nice because his attack before you do anything is 1487. It's stupid high. So you get a lot of attack. Let's see. I think it's over. Let me find out actually how much attack you get. I actually can add this up without even doing anything. You get 100 extra attack. So it'll go up to 1587 attack, just like Cavendish. Stupid high attack, very, very cool. To be frank, going through barriers as potential is really nice, and going through slot bind rush is also nice. But what I would say is that overall, this is going to be one of those kind of iffy units. I'm not really sure. I'd say no. Oh, and we're back. I actually missed a unit. I missed the Raid Caesar, so we're going to go over Raid Caesar real quick. So Raid Caesar, definitely an interesting limit break. So if I go to Max limit break, he gets an extra 150 attack, which he starts out at 1404, putting him at 1554 attack, which is pretty cool. He gets an extra socket on his limit break, putting him at 3 sockets, which is really interesting. And he goes down in his cooldown by 1 turn, which is also good, putting him down to a 14 turn cooldown, which is pretty cool. I like all that. His Sailor ability is going to boost the attack of cerebral and driven characters up by 50. I think it might be just overall stats, but I mean, I think it's attack. And then he's also going to get of course, the 2 limit break abilities. One's going to be damage reduction, the other one's going to be perfect crits. So you're going to get crits on your Raid Caesar, making him an interesting character to limit break. Definitely a very, very cool character to limit break. What's really interesting is that he has 35 and 55 attack at the end here, which means you would have to go all the way to here just to get most of the viability for him, which is kind of annoying. If I could just get to here and then get an extra 60 attack, that would also be kind of good. I might just do that and get his crit and then just scale off the crit and then skip the socket altogether. I might do that. I'm not sure. I might not do it at all. I'd say this has definitely got a good limit break because an extra 150 attack is a lot, especially for how little crystals you need. You're only going to need 10 of the green, 5 of the other green crystals, 50 of the small shards, this, and then 2 guidance stones, just like this. So it's not going to be like a major cost in stones. It's going to be just the kind of same cost as any rare recruit unit. I'd say this is worth it, but it's kind of back burner to me. I'm not going to do it now, but I might do it later. We'll see. I do like that. The reason I'm thinking about the attack is because he does have a wave clear mechanic, and getting an extra 150 attack is going to add whatever 45 times 150 is. Let's put that. We'll do a calculator on that real quick. So 45 times 150 is an extra 6,700 AoE damage, which we did 1554 times 45 is 69,000 damage. Which boosting it from 60,000 to 69,000 can be the difference between killing someone and not killing someone. So that's actually kind of useful. So I may do it. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm iffy on that. Next unit on the list is the most controversial one that I'd say most people will limit break this guy right away. It's Legend Lucy. I think differently. I actually have this unit, and I can limit break him pretty far into the path if I wanted to. I got to fully limit break him when I first got him, and to be honest, I'd say no. You get a lot of extra attack. He goes up to like 59 attack or something like that, and his crit is bonkers good, and everything on him is really good. I'd still say no. Main reason is you don't need all this stuff on Lucy. He's already OP. Boost his subs. You want to I don't really see a reason to do it. It's like limit breaking at Kainu. I understand you want to see the really high crits, but why? I want it to be useful. I don't want it to be OP. That's just me though. So overall, I'd say this is a backward thing. If you do get it done, it is still worth doing because he does tons of damage and extra increases are great. But overall, I'd say this is a wait, not a do right away. But that's just me because I like getting useful sockets on characters and everything. Next we get Coliseum Lucy. This is 100% worth. Coliseum Lucy is actually going to gain a Sailor ability for Lucy teams. It's going to be Strength X Quick Attack by 75. It's going to boost your whole team stats, which is really, really good. Boosting your whole team stats is really, really strong. I definitely like that. The main reason that's really important is because Chain Lock is a thing. You can use Chain Lock on so many different teams now, especially on Lucy teams, that the attack of every character matters versus just one character. or the last two characters in your chain, since you're using chain lock so often. He also gets a 50% chance to crit, and he's farmable, which makes him way better than actually getting it on Lucy, because that means you're going to get the 50% chance to crit. You don't actually have to like go, oh, I don't know, I might get it if my limit break tablets work. Or I might pull 5, like 8, 9, 15 units of Lucy. That's way harder. Or, you use this character, and then boom, you have a 50% chance to crit 7% of the time, all the time. That's super good. I used this guy the other day, and I crit for 3 million just on himself with just Orb Boost, Type Boost, Chainlock. It was like bonkers good. So I definitely recommend. This is the 100% worth best or second best limit break in the game, I'd say. Next up, we got Kizaru here. Now Kizaru, he sucks overall, and his limit break sucks, so I'd say no, not worth it. Beckman, really good unit. Overall, very, very strong unit. His sailor ability that he gets is reduced blindness for 3 turns, which is actually pretty useful in general, but on shooter teams, on cerebral teams, I'm not 100% sure if you need that, but it's nice. He does get an additional socket, which is really good. He gets crit, and he also gets Lucci's sailor ability, where it does typeless attack damage on top, which is kind of interesting, and I do kind of like that. I'm not on this character. I'm really on the fence on if he should be a limit broken or not. You don't really get any extra cooldown. The extra socket's really nice, boosting him from a 4-socket unit to a 5-socket unit. He's a really good unit overall. Lots of stats increases from this guy. Yeah, you know what? I'd say this is worth it. If you actually have this unit and you have a cerebral team, it's definitely worth it. Otherwise, there are other characters you can do. He's not like top tier, totally worth it unit. He's definitely worth it though. Next up, we have Quick Lucci. Now, Quick Lucci is a really good unit overall, and he has some really weird sailor ability stuff where he's gonna boost attack of powerhouse units by 50, which is really good, and then he's also gonna reduce his cooldown by 1 in his thing. He's also gonna get a healing ability where if you're hitting perfects, you get like the law effect where you increase your healing, and sailor ability, which is gonna make recovery and TD beneficial for this unit, which is also kind of interesting. You get lots of attack on Quick Lucci, and you get that 50% chance to do 2 times healing, which is really cool. It's a really cool limit break. But your HP has to be really low to utilize the limit break. So that perfect pinch healing thing is kind of interesting. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I don't like that. Overall, this is a really good unit, and I'd say this is a unit that's worth it, the limit break, because as a sub, he is going to see some play on judge teams in the future and some other powerhouse teams. So yeah, I guess this is worth it. I'm not 100% in love with the limit break, so I'd back burner this, but it's definitely worth doing. Next we have Quick Law. Now Quick Law has a very cool limit break. He gets the pinch healing ability, which is really good on his character kit in general. It's going to boost his healing even further when his HP is low. He's going to go through barriers on his attack. He's going to have the anti-heal reduction, which is with no crit on this character. Yeah, this is totally worth it doing. However, he has the same makes recovery and TD beneficial on this unit, and boosts attack of striker characters, which is really good. Unless you got Neko, not worth it. But if you do have Neko, sure. For the sailor abilities. If you're doing it for double Law or Law Kuzan Captain, it's really good. He's definitely worth doing. I'd say this is one of those characters that I personally would need more experience playing this character to know if it would be worth it or not for the extra healing. To be frank, I would not be focusing on this character first, because I believe there are better characters to limit break in the game, because you're not getting so much stuff out of this character that it's gonna that you need to limit break this character. I'd say that overall he's extremely good to limit break. Yeah, overall extremely good, but it can wait. Now next up we have Bepo. Now Bepo, pass, not worth. Just not worth. New Boa Hancock. The new Legend Boa Hancock is going to make Strike Dex Quick Side in Orth beneficial in this unit if your captain's a free spirit character. Basically, so that means if your captain is Stronghold Ace or 6+ Ace, then he said that all orbs except for Recovery and TND are matching for this character, which is really cool. I like that. That's kind of cool. That means on Stronghold Ace you always have a matching orb, which is really cool. Unless you get a Recovery or TND orb, which would really suck. But like otherwise, it's pretty common to have a matching orb on this character, which was really cool. It's barrier penetration, special cooldown reduction, lots of stats, and then decreases no healing direction. And then also gets the pinch healing ability where you're healing extra if your HP is low, which is based off perfect, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, this sailor ability is where I would stop if you're going to be limit breaking this unit. I would go in, because you get the pinch healing and then the sailor ability pretty early on in the limit break tree. I'd go to like 11 and stop, and then like focus on other units. And I actually wouldn't go past the 11 for a very long time until I got to a point where I really needed it. But yeah, overall this is definitely worth it. I'd say it's high priority to get it up to 11 and then stop. And after that point, it's kind of like, you can wait. You can be backburnered. Marguerite. So somebody tried to convince me on this earlier. They were telling me, hey, you gotta limit break this Marguerite. She's really good at limit break. And I was looking at the character, and there's like two big turnoffs for this character for me. The first one, besides, is this. Her attack is stupid low. I hate that about her. I really do. I really hate that her attack is so low. She gets an extra socket, which is really good. She gets barrier penetration, really good. Reducing blindness, pretty good. I'd say no, this is not worth it. Just not worth it. This is not a character you want to limit break. Getting the 5 sockets, maybe, but there are so many other characters that you should limit break first. No, not worth it. Next character is going to be Boa Marigold. This character is really worth it. Main reason is because of the sailor ability is so good. She makes it so that she doesn't do reduced damage against her countertype. So if Strength Boa Marigold is attacking a quick unit, you do the same amount of damage, which is really, really good. So I definitely recommend this character for that. Plus getting extra socket and lots of extra stats is super good. So 100% worth it. Definitely worth doing Boa Marigold. Same thing goes for Boa Sandersonia. Very, very similar captain, very, very similar sailor ability where you get the same thing on strength characters instead of on quick characters. And of course, getting that extra socket, very worth it. Extra cooldown reduction. Sorry, not extra. Getting the enrage, which is really nice, and the anti-healing, which is whatever. I'd say you might as well go all the way because the additional socket's right at the end, but definitely worth doing because this character has a really good sailor ability. Definitely worth doing. Already having the Sandersonia Sandersonia Marigold combination is one of the best combinations in the game, so definitely worth doing. I think that's going to do it for the first section of our video. We went over about almost two pages of limit break characters, so we went over about, I think, 10 or 20 units at least. So I will be going over more units later in the next episode. So I'm Sekapoko, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do enjoy the video, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. And of course, have a great rest of your day. Peace.